Welcome back to the Nissim Black Show again. Listen, if you have been following this war all the way up until now, then you, whether or not you've known it, you have definitely been shown lies. I would say that most of the pro-Hamas media that's coming out of Gaza or anything, all these videos were lies. A lot of them were lies. I'm not saying every single thing. I'm just going to say the overwhelming majority. And the things that are the biggest are people being eliminated at food sites or children in starvation and real starvation. When I talk about the falsehood, we're going to get into some of this falsehood. I have a clip from Bibi Netanyahu from a couple months ago. Now, I know the hostages are home, but the importance of continuing to keep in front of us what just took place is going to be important. One of the reasons why that's going to be important is because just like we're seeing with the Holocaust, people didn't even wait. We're only 2 years in. People are already trying to say that October 7th didn't happen. The Holocaust, okay, you're already strange and weird for believing that because there's so much documentation. I mean, World War II is probably the most documented war that there's ever been in history. I'm not sure of that. You can fact check me on it. But I'm pretty sure that it is, from not just, the actual papers, filings, documentation, the historical, the books, the videos. There's videos of it. And this is far before AI. So Hollywood is a real thing. Gollywood, whatever they want to call it. There's been a lot of falsehood that came out of there. And I think that we need to, especially now that we're looking at the ceasefire being tampered with, we'll say for lack of a better term, by Hamas. Remember who it is that we are dealing with. Remember what type of behaviors that we've been seeing from these people. And I want to play this clip of Bibi Netanyahu because I think that it's important for all of us to not forget. Let's keep it in mind. And what I like the most about this clip, I'm going to share it with you guys in a second, is the fact that Bibi will continue to tell us about Israel deranged syndrome as it has morphed throughout the years, anti-Semitism, Jew hatred, whatever you want to call it. He's going to keep showing us that this thing is a real thing. It's not like it's something that just started yesterday. It's a real thing. Let's go ahead and roll the clip.
Despite Hamas's obstacles, 2 million people are now getting access to humanitarian aid. But I'll tell you who isn't. The only ones that are being deliberately starved in Gaza are our hostages. This is Evyatar David. Look at his hand, at his arm. He's being deliberately starved by these Hamas monsters. And look at the Hamas captor. Look at the difference. He's eating, and he's eating well. The purpose of this news conference is to puncture the lies and spread the truth. But that distortion has been propelled around the earth, almost the way that the Jewish people were maligned in the Middle Ages. Every massacre of the Jewish people was preceded by massive vilification.
Serious propaganda. I challenge anybody to really do the history and really look at what was going on. Like throughout the millennia, Jews are either persecuted for being too poor, and then when they became wealthy, by and large, when communities became wealthy, then they were too rich. And throughout the years, Jews have never been able to really get ahead, never win, right? There's always some reason anti-Semitism, it morphs. It's crazy.
We were said to be spreading vermin to Christian societies. We were said to be poisoning the wells. We were said to slaughter Christian children for their blood. And as these lies spread around the globe, they were followed by horrific massacres, pogroms, displacements, finally culminating in the worst massacre of them all, the Holocaust.
And you would think that people will have at least something new to say. I mean, you're seeing people like Candace Owens, parrot this type of stuff out, and others. It's like we're in 2025. I mean, come on. But it goes to show that from people that although time has gone on and certain things have progressed, the human psyche in a lot of ways has not progressed, at least for a lot of them. Anybody that still believes those things in 2025.
Today, the Jewish state is being maligned in a similar way. Everything that I told you could be verified easily, but it hasn't. And the international press has bought hook, line, and sinker Hamas statistics, Hamas claims, Hamas forgeries, and Hamas photographs. For example, these three children. The first one is Osama al-Raqub. He is in Italy getting treatment because Israel got him out. That's what he looks like today. Mm. He has a genetic disease that damages the lungs and digestive system. It makes it hard to absorb nutrients and gain weight. Okay? So Israel facilitated Osama's travel to Italy, where he got the medical aid that transformed his position. The second one is Abdul Qadir al-Fayumi. He suffers from a genetic neurological disorder, spinal muscular atrophy, a degenerative condition that causes muscle wasting, weakness, and severe weight loss unrelated to nutrition.
I mean, just think about this as he's going through that how heartless you have got to be to use and to exploit these people. How heartless as parents. And I'm assuming just because we've seen behavior, remember on October 7th that it was not just Hamas militants that came in, even though everybody wore civilian clothing. There were a lot of said civilians that also came in. So I'm not sure how much the parents were for or for not. I would like to think in a normal situation, Western family, that would be totally off the table for them to exploit the children in this way for this type of propaganda. I'm not so sure that was the case with these parents, unfortunately. And just the despicable type of person you have to be to do this to children who are sick of this magnitude says a lot about your character.
This was the real cause of his frail appearance, not starvation. In fact, he was treated in Israel in 2018. Doesn't help because it's a congenital disease and it defies most treatment at least. The third one is the most celebrated one. This is a New York Times cover photo on the front page of Muhammad Zakaria Ayub and his mother. Muhammad Zakaria Ayub is suffering from a genetic illness which you're familiar with. It's called cerebral palsy. His mother is well fed and his brother is healthy. I'm looking right now into the possibility of a governmental suit against the New York Times because this is outrageous. Of course, the correction was postage size. I don't know where it was buried. But this is outrageous. These are the three most celebrated photos, and they're all fake. It's the kind of malignant lies that were leveled at the Jewish people in the Middle Ages. We won't suffer. We won't allow it to go unchallenged, and this is the purpose of this press conference. I hope that you open your eyes to a simple fact. Hamas lies.
You know, and that's too bad that Bibi has to have this type of press conference, because, and the reason why I say it's too bad is just because you would think that today with the amount of information, we are in the information age. Now, granted, when there's an overwhelming amount of information, it's only plausible that there's going to be a lot of misinformation or disinformation, whatever the case is. But we are definitely in a place where it is not that hard to find out if something is true, if it's real, if it's not. And all it takes is a little bit of critical thinking, something that we don't necessarily have today. I'm not saying everybody, but there are a lot of people who do not have the ability to think critically about the things that are going on in front of their face. And it saddens me to see this many people who will fall for falsehood. The esoteric books, the Zohar specifically calls this a Alma de Shikra, calls this world a false world in Aramaic. And that means for us that most of the things that we see are not real. So when we know that, we could go with confidence that if we are not connected to something that we are absolutely for sure that is true, i.e. God, then you will fall for anything. I think it was Malcolm X that said, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. I don't quote him a lot because, I didn't see eye to eye with Brother Malcolm on everything. But if you don't stand for the truth, for sure you're going to fall for lies. And this has happened to a lot of people, a lot of good people who unfortunately have lost their way, who have found themselves in either IDS, Israel Derangement Syndrome, or TDS, Trump Derangement Syndrome. And it happens, man. This stuff is a disease and it spreads very, very fast. And it's unfortunate. We have to be able to decipher truth from falsehood. Because if you do not, unfortunately, and I would go to reason. I would say that the overwhelming majority of people are living a lie. Like they're just living a lie. They're not in touch with the real them. They're not they don't know who the real them is. I mean, out of all these people giving all these opinions, you put up anything Jewish, you'll get attacked in minutes. But all these people, like, the ones that are not robots, do you really hold those opinions? Do you really know if that's your opinion or not? When's the last time you sat with yourself? When's the last time you've been away from everything or everyone else? No music. When have you ever entered into any type of self-discovery? There's so many distractions, so much nonsense going on in the world today that we can never get to us. We can never get to who we are supposed to be. And I think for me, out of everything, that's one of the most scary things, is that we could be so disconnected. We could be so off that we don't know who we are anymore. And I think that that's where we are. So when I look at this, I mean, it doesn't surprise me that Hamas would use this type of propaganda. What surprises me is the amount of people that fall for it. And then I know there's also those people who they're not really falling for it. They hate Jews. So anything else that is a part of that will help them to champion their cause of hating either Jews or the state of Israel, they jump on it. So my message to all of you is that if you want the truth, especially in a generation such as this, you are going to have to fight for it. The days of information, or trusted information, a trusted confidence, it's over. Now, don't get me twisted. That doesn't mean you run into a lot of, what we're seeing today, these conspiracy theories but you have to, in order to find truth. I remember this. I'll leave you guys with this. I was once by my rabbi, and he was asked a question. It says that if Satan, the devil, also knows the Torah, also knows the word of God, then how will I know that which is good? Because he may tell me to do something good that appears to be good, right? How do I know when it's God? And how do I know when it's coming from a satanic force, demonic force or something? Because even the devil could quote the Bible. The devil could quote the Torah. So how do I know? Most simple answer. A rabbi answered to this person. This is that whenever something is loud, even if it's the most positive thing in the world, and it's loud and it's obnoxious and it keeps going over and over and over again, you keep hearing it and it's loud and it's pushing at you and it's pressing, it's so pressing. Even if it's something that's good. He says, in the overwhelming majority of times, you could be positive that that's coming from the evil side. Because God, when he speaks to us in a small, still voice, as we learned in the book of Kings, in a small, still voice, God will speak to us as a voice of calm, as a voice of compassion, and for our own good. So we have got to silence the world, silence a lot of the noise, and to listen for the truth, for the small, still voice. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Catch you guys on the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Please, again, make sure you like, subscribe, notification bell, and if you can, make sure that you pick up some merch. Nissim Black .store. Make sure you get yourself a cup, t-shirt, something, help and support this channel. Also, you can sign up for Glory Nation, which is my online community where we go deep into prayer and how to protect ourselves from being idiots like the rest of the world. See you guys in the next video.